Welcome back, Caitlin Clark. You are insane.
Back again. Caitlin's back.
The Indiana Fever, I'm watching it. It just went final.
Oh my goodness.
Is what I like to call Fever basketball. It's Fever versus everybody, as Ken Swift would say.
Caitlin Clark nails it. Oh, look what I just did. Absolutely undeniable. And her return to the Indiana Fever showed it once again. It felt like a jolt of energy.
They said it was impossible. They said she was too young, too raw, too outmatched. The Liberty were undefeated, a powerhouse steamrolling every team in their path. But tonight, everything changed.
The word undeniable exists for a reason, and it applies to Caitlin Clark. She is just absolutely undeniable. And her return to the Indiana Fever showed it once again. It felt like a jolt of energy to the WNBA, obviously to the Indiana Fever, who looked like a completely different team, as Caitlin Clark put on a show that only she can in leading the team to a win over the New York Liberty, the first L for the Liberty on the season.
In an arena packed with roaring fans and eyes locked on every move, Caitlin Clark didn't just show up, she took over. What began as a blowout turned into one of the most unbelievable comebacks the WNBA has ever seen.
Clark made those passes that are just gorgeous dimes. She hit the logo bombs, 3 of them in 38 seconds. The kind of things that just make you make incomprehensible noises. Like you can't control it when you're watching it because she's so exciting. She's the most exciting basketball player.
And leading that charge, a rookie with ice in her veins, fire in her game, and a mission to silence every critic. This was not just a win. This was a message.
Time is unreal. There is really no other reaction than just to say, wow. Just like LeBron James did when he tweeted out, the CC effect, welcome back, you were missed. From the GOAT. I mean, Caitlin Clark actually had people flying in from Hong Kong to see her play.
And trust me, the league heard it loud and clear. The game tipped off with a deafening roar, but from the very first possession, it was clear. The Liberty came to dominate. Fast, fluid, and ruthless, they wasted no time asserting control.
The Indiana Fever, I'm watching it. It just went final. 102-88 over the league undefeated, now defeated, New York Liberty.
Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Streward were locked in, slicing through Indiana's defense like it was paper.
Like, imagine guarding 2 steps outside the three-point line and you're still nowhere close to the shot. Like, it was obnoxious. It's obnoxiously long where she shoots the ball from. It's actually ridiculous. It is actually ridiculous. Like, you've now got Caitlin Clark and Breanna Streward just laughing. Like, Breanna Streward has to laugh.
The scoreboard lit up in Liberty blue, and the Fever found themselves buried in a double-digit hole before the first quarter even ended.
In the first quarter and a half, Caitlin 25 in the first half. Caitlin starts off the game by getting them their first basket with an assist. It's 6-4. She then throws a ridiculous pass to Boston for that. And in the meantime, Caitlin Clark hit a floater.
Caitlin Clark, meanwhile, was quiet. Too quiet. Her shots rimmed out, her passes were intercepted, and the Liberty defense hounded her every step.
This was during the first half, so here we go. Let's rock it right here. Caitlin Clark coming down the court. Let me just turn that down. And a beautiful little floater. This is that wicked logo, long-ass 3. Caitlin's going to hit us with the Jordan right there with the tongue out. I mean, this is ridiculous. Caitlin's got the ball. She's going to be out to Colson. Back to Caitlin. Boom, another 3. Ridiculousness. I mean, this was an unbelievable ass-kicking by Caitlin Clark.
Commentators began murmuring, is she overwhelmed? Social media lit up with doubts. Was this the game that finally exposed her? But as the pressure mounted and Indiana's offense struggled to find rhythm, something began to shift. Clark wasn't panicking. She wasn't folding. She was studying. Every defensive rotation, every Liberty switch. She was absorbing it all.
Caitlin Clark hits 3 logo bombs, by the way. 3 logo bombs in 38 seconds. This was the Caitlin Clark we all said, oh, she's different.
And though the first half closed with Indiana still trailing, you could see it in her eyes. She wasn't done. Not even close. The Liberty bench celebrated like the game was already over. But Caitlin, she tightened her ponytail, walked back to the huddle, and with one glance at her team, lit the first spark of what would soon become an unforgettable fire.
Tell Caitlin Clark Kent back in action. Where do I even start? Where do I even start? 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 7 threes, 11 for 20 in only 31 minutes of basketball. The Indiana Fever say, come on, New York. Come on. Somebody's got to give you this first L, and I guess it's going to be us.
Halftime ended and the third quarter began. But something was different. The Liberty came out confident. Maybe too confident, still riding the high of their early dominance. But Caitlin Clark returned to the court with a completely different energy.
Like, imagine guarding 2 steps outside the 3-point line and you're still nowhere close to the shot. Like, it was obnoxious. It's obnoxiously long where she shoots the ball from. It's actually ridiculous. It is actually ridiculous. Like, you've now got Caitlin Clark and Breanna Streward just laughing. Like, Breanna Streward has to laugh.
Gone was the hesitation, the nerves, the forced plays. What emerged instead was a player completely locked in, laser-focused, and ready to rewrite the game's script.
When we're going to see a player that's just is fun to watch playing basketball. I don't know when we're going to see that.
It started with a subtle move. Clark received the ball just past half court, glanced at the defense, and with a flick of the wrist, launched a deep 3 from well beyond the arc. Swish! The crowd erupted.
Caitlin Clark, 9 points in 20 or 38 seconds. Oh my goodness. Came back to back logo threes. For a minute, man, I told the chat, call the cops on Caitlin Clark for logo abuse. Oh my goodness, man. She was killing it out there.
One shot didn't change the score drastically, but it shifted the entire momentum. You could feel it. The Liberty's bench rose in alarm, shouting defensive switches. But before they could reset, Clark did it again. Another step-back 3.
She's back!
This time with a hand in her face. Network pure. Suddenly, Indiana Fever's offense, which had looked disjointed all game, began to click.
This actually puts the Fever at the top of the Commissioner's Cup standings now for the Eastern Conference Finals, as they have beat the New York Liberty now. And this is such a breath of fresh air to a lot of the WNBA fans, to especially a lot of the Fever fans who have been really seeing some lackluster playing going on, because if there's anything that Caitlin Clark does, it's she makes things cinema.
And it was Clark pulling the strings. She wasn't just scoring, she was orchestrating. Drawing double teams, she found open teammates cutting through the lane. She started slicing up New York's zone defense with behind-the-back passes, no-look dimes, perfectly timed feeds.
Much to the credit of Caitlin Clark, this team won a massive game. It was not without flaws, believe it or not. If I wanted to, we could really get into it.
Nalissa Smith and Aaliyah Boston came alive under her leadership, feeding off the renewed energy. Defensively, Caitlin wasn't taking a break either. She fought through screens, anticipated passing lanes, and dove for loose balls.
She almost had a triple-double in this game. 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 32 points. By the way, let me point, and 2 block shots.
She even took a charge from Jonquel Jones, absorbing the contact, getting knocked to the floor, and popping back up as the crowd screamed her name. It wasn't just skill on display now, it was grit.
102-88. We finally hit triple digits thanks to CC22. Caitlin Clark, folks, 3 threes in 38 seconds in the first half.
Every possession turned into a battle, and every battle was slowly being won by Clark. The Liberty, once poised and confident, were now scrambling. Stewart missed a contested mid-range shot.
And the maddest thing is, I actually want to say is, Caitlin, I thought, did a really good job on defense today. Like, I actually think that Caitlin did a really good job on defense today. Look, is Caitlin a good defender? No. But I think she goes into the 50th percentile of defenders.
Ionescu was forced into a turnover by Clark's pressure. New York's offense, once a machine, started misfiring. Their communication broke down. Indiana, led by a rookie, was now dictating the pace.
And it's now just, oh my God, NBA Twitter, dear Lord. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's all I'm going to say.
And the Fever fans, they were on fire. Every time Caitlin touched the ball, the arena buzzed. With each three-pointer, with each steal, with every dazzling assist, she was chipping away at the Liberty's lead.
Was there one play by Caitlin, a three, a stretch pass, maybe a turnover, the technical, or, a less glamorous play that just stands out in your mind for whatever reason as like, wow, you step back and said, wow, she's back, or good to have her back kind of thing?
Well, I don't know how many threes she had in the first quarter. Yeah, that's a wow moment, certainly. She's got it, right? Like she's got it. And she managed the game impeccably from there on out. And so oftentimes it's just, pointing out the moments. She's going to continue to grow in those areas. But she's special, right? And she's special. 25 assists on 37 made field goals. I mean, it's just, I'm just really proud of them, and I'm really thankful for them.
And at their confidence. It wasn't just about catching up anymore. It was about taking over. And by the end of the third quarter, what once looked like an embarrassing blowout had turned into a nail-biting showdown.
Everything is clean and fresh again for the Fever, for the WNBA, thanks to the return of one Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark wasn't just responding, she was commanding, and she made it crystal clear. This wasn't just another game. This was a statement, and she was far from finished.
That is what I like to call Fever basketball. It's Fever versus everybody, as Ken Swift would say.
The fourth quarter began with the crowd on their feet, sensing something extraordinary was unfolding. The game was tied. The undefeated Liberty, who had walked in with swagger, now wore expressions of disbelief. And Caitlin Clark? She was just getting started.
The best offense in the WNBA is Caitlin effing Clark.
From the very first possession, Clark set the tone. She controlled the ball like a veteran floor general, calmly navigating the defense while the shot clock ticked down. Then, bang, another cold-blooded three-pointer from way downtown over two defenders.
Like, she has, again, set a record. Nobody has ever accomplished this stat line in the WNBA before. And this was her first game back. And it shut up all of the noise.
Caitlin Clark nails it. Oh, look what I just did.
32 points from Caitlin Clark, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 11 for 20 from the field, 7 for 14 from the three. Yo.
The net didn't even move. Indiana had the lead for the first time all night, and the entire building exploded. But Clark didn't celebrate. No fist pump, no grin. She turned, locked eyes with her teammates, and got back on defense. She was in full killer mode. The Liberty tried to respond with their own push.
Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now.
She did such an amazing job. I knew for a fact she was going to go off because she was just too anxious. She was too anxious to go off, man. So anxious.
Breanna Streward muscled her way inside for a quick bucket, but Clark came right back, darting through traffic and finishing with a left-handed layup off the glass.
And you've got Breanna Streward, out there she's just out there getting trash talked by Caitlin Clark. You've even got ESPN posting about it. So she's guarding Caitlin and that shot goes in. She's probably like, what the hell's going on? Caitlin Clark immediately trash talking, and she has to laugh.
It was a shot most rookies wouldn't even attempt. Clark made it look effortless. Now the Liberty were desperate.
Breanna Streward shot 14 free throws. Stewie shot 14. Half of them phantom fouls.
They started pressing full court, trying to rattle her. But every time they applied pressure, Clark broke it with poise. She dribbled through double teams, baited defenders, and launched pinpoint passes that turned into easy points for the Fever.
Caitlin Clark is the 4th fastest player in WNBA history to hit 850 points.
One play had the crowd stunned. Clark, trapped near the sideline, faked a pass, spun between 2 defenders, and launched a full-court bounce pass to a streaking Aaliyah Boston for a fast break layup.
But Aaliyah Boston, really good second half. 10 and 11, terrible first half. 10, 11, and 6, really, really good second half. I said it like in my halftime breakdown. I was like, Aaliyah, they were like, oh, Aaliyah sucks. I'm like, no, you give Aaliyah grace. You give Aaliyah Boston grace.
It was magic. Time was running out, and the Liberty were reeling. Sabrina Ionescu tried to mount a response, but Caitlin wasn't letting go. With less than 2 minutes left and the Fever clinging to a 3-point lead, Clark pulled out the dagger.
Aaliyah Boston with big rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell was clutch late. Lexi Hull was everywhere. Sydney Colson even stepped up. But Caitlin Clark stepping back on the floor made all the difference in the world.
She dribbled slowly up court, let the clock drain, called for an ISO, and with the entire stadium holding its breath, stepped back from the top of the arc and fired. The ball hung in the air for a heartbeat, and then boom, another triple. The lead stretched to 6, and the Liberty's undefeated dream was officially slipping through their fingers.
The level of respect that Caitlin Clark, one thing I really liked about it was the level of respect from Caitlin Clark, and you saw it, or for Caitlin Clark from the opponent. You saw that in exchange with Breanna Streward.
Even in the final seconds, Clark wasn't done. When New York tried a quick inbound to spark a miracle comeback, she read the pass like a book, jumped the lane, stole the ball, and calmly drew a foul. At the free throw line, she was ice cold, knocking down both shots with flawless form.
What did Clark say after the game? That's how we're supposed to play basketball. I know a lot of fans, or that's how the Fever are supposed to play basketball. I know a lot of fans have been missing that, but we got it back with Caitlin Clark, and it just changes the way you feel about everything.
That was it. The Liberty waved the white flag. As the final buzzer rang, Caitlin Clark didn't celebrate wildly. She didn't need to. She walked off the court with the calm swagger of someone who knew she just flipped the script. Not only on the game, but on the season. The undefeated Liberty, crushed. The doubters, silenced. The league, officially on notice.
The Indiana Fever, it's like BC, BC before Christ, only like before Caitlin. It's the Indiana Fever before Caitlin and the Indiana Fever after Caitlin. She is like 1000% the difference maker. She makes this team look like a contending team, which is shocking to say after seeing them play without her.
This wasn't just a win. This was a coronation. And Caitlin Clark had just claimed her crown. Tonight wasn't just about basketball. It was about a shift in power. Caitlin Clark didn't just beat the undefeated Liberty. She shattered the myth that rookies can't lead, can't dominate, can't rise when it matters most.
She's sent from outer space. The Caitlin Clark that we saw today was the Caitlin Clark that we were accustomed to seeing. Oh, it feels good, folks. It feels good. It feels good to get the W. It feels great to see Caitlin Clark's shot falling, logo threes, bombing. Caitlin Clark, the most 35-5 games in the Players 2 seasons. Candace Parker had 2. Caitlin Clark now has 3. Nobody else with more than 1. Caitlin Clark Kent is back in action.
With the world watching, she delivered a masterclass in resilience, leadership, and raw, unstoppable talent.
Caitlin was on a heater that I don't think I'd ever seen before. I cannot remember the last time I'd seen a player on this type of heater.
This game will be replayed, reposted, and remembered. Not just because the Fever won, but because a new era officially began. And if anyone still had doubts about Caitlin Clark, they've now been buried under a mountain of buckets, assists, and fearless plays. She didn't just show up, she rewrote the story. The league will never look at her the same again. And after this, neither will we.
Was there one play by Caitlin, a three, a stretch pass, maybe a turnover, the technical, or a less glamorous play that just stands out in your mind for whatever reason as like, wow, you step back and said, wow, she's back, or good to have her back kind of thing?
Well, I don't know how many threes she had in the first quarter. Yeah, that's a wow moment, certainly. She's got it, right? Like she's got it, and she managed the game impeccably from there on out. And so oftentimes it's just pointing out the moments. She's going to continue to grow in those areas, but she's special, right? And she's special. 25 assists on 37 made field goals. I mean, it's just I'm just really proud of them, and I'm really thankful for them.